The soul is always the first to respond. It does not wait for your mind to catch up. It does not need logic to understand what the heart already knows. When the season of Christmas approaches, something inside you shifts before any explanation appears. There is a quiet recognition that bypasses the brain. You feel a familiar warmth even when life is cold. You feel a presence even when you are alone. The truth is simple. The soul never forgets. The soul remembers the world before you entered this body. It remembers the moment you crossed the threshold of the physical realm. It remembers a place where separation did not exist. A place without fear. A place without time. There was no doubt. There was no confusion. You were not a fragment trying to find where you belong. You were home. Christmas does not awaken memories of childhood. It awakens the memory that existed before it. The memory that your body cannot store but your soul carries in silence. This is the reason you feel a pull you cannot explain. It is not nostalgia. It is recognition. The soul recognizes the signal of return. It knows this moment before your life began. It knows the frequency of origin. It knows you came from somewhere higher than the stories you were told. The soul does something the mind cannot. It holds every timeline you have ever lived. It holds the lessons that shaped you before you entered this lifetime. It holds the ancient wisdom that guides the direction of your path. Even when the mind forgets, even when the world distracts you, the soul keeps the contract alive. Christmas is the moment when that contract becomes louder. There is a reason your heart softens in this season. There is a reason you feel the world slow down inside you, even when everything outside moves faster. There is a reason your spirit becomes reflective in a way it does not during any other time of year. It is because this is the moment when the veil becomes thin. The soul is able to speak more clearly than the mind. The energy of the physical world steps aside, and for a brief moment, your true identity rises. The soul does not speak in words. It speaks in feeling, in intuition, in certainty. There is a moment when you stop reasoning and you simply know. You do not need a sign. You do not need evidence. You just know you belong to something greater. This is the moment the soul steps forward and reminds you that you came from a place of light, that you were chosen long before you took your first breath, that you were not here by mistake. Christmas triggers that memory because it carries an ancient resonance. It carries the frequency of return. It brings you closer to the place you originated from, not the home you were born into, the home you were created from. Every soul comes from light. Every soul returns to light. The world may forget, the mind may resist, but the soul never lets go of its origin. When you feel that gentle pull inside you during this season, it is not emotion, it is remembrance. The soul remembers who you were before life became complicated, before you were given a name, before you were taught fear, before the world placed expectations on your shoulders, before you learned doubt. The soul remembers the version of you that existed without limitation, the one that walked in truth, the one that understood that separation was only an illusion. This is why the soul is the first to react. It does not wait for approval. It does not wait for understanding. It responds to what it already knows. It responds to the call of origin. The moment the season arrives, the soul remembers the journey you began long before you arrived here. It remembers the vows you made, the purpose you carry, the people you were destined to meet, the paths you were meant to walk. Christmas is not just a date. It is a signal from the field that your spirit has entered another cycle of awakening. There is a deeper truth here. The soul is always trying to guide you back home, not to a place, but to a state of being, a remembering of your original identity. You were not created to survive. You were created to return to your higher self. The soul remembers every step of that return, even when you choose to ignore the signs, even when you hide your pain, even when you forget who you are. Christmas is the moment the soul whispers louder. It reminds you that you did not come here empty. You came carrying a memory. The mind may not understand why certain emotions rise during this season, but the soul understands. The soul sees beyond this lifetime. It knows the people you lost. It knows the love that shaped you. It knows the wounds that turned you into who you are. It knows the destiny waiting on the other side. Christmas brings all of it back into focus, not to make you sad, but to make you remember. The soul is the one calling you home. It is the one saying you do not have to search outside. It is the one reminding you that every answer was placed within you before you were born. The world may try to distract you. The mind may try to doubt, but the soul will continue to show you the truth. In the quiet, in the stillness, in the moments when the world falls away, you feel something inside open. That opening is the memory of origin. Do not ignore that signal. Do not explain it away. Let it guide you. Let it pull you back to where you belong. This is why the soul remembers first, because it has always known the way. It has always seen the truth. It has always been connected to the source you came from. Christmas is not just a season. It is the reminder that no matter how far you wander, you are always being led back home. The soul has never forgotten. It is waiting for you to remember. The moment Christmas approaches, something ancient begins to echo inside you. It is not your memory. It is not a thought. It is a vibration that comes from a place deeper than the mind. There is a frequency that awakens only during this season. You feel it before you understand it. You feel it before you explain it. The echo has no language. It speaks through recognition. There is a reason the heart turns quieter when the world becomes louder. There is a reason you sense a kind of sacred silence beneath all the noise. You are not reacting to the celebration. You are reacting to the call. The ancient echo does not come from your past. It comes from beyond it. It is the voice of something older than your story, older than your body, older than time. This echo has always existed. It speaks from the realm you originated from, a realm where you were not fragmented, a realm where you did not have to search for belonging, a realm where you were whole. Christmas is the moment when that ancient voice reaches through the fabric of reality and touches your soul again. You feel it as a pull, a familiar presence, a memory without a source, a knowing without an explanation. The ancient echo is the reminder that your story did not begin here. You did not start as a human. You started as consciousness, pure, unified, infinite. You came from a place where every soul recognized each other by light. There was no fear. There was no separation. There was no sense of loss. You were connected to every timeline you would ever walk. You were connected to every version you would become. Christmas amplifies that truth. It is not coincidence that during this season people feel something they cannot name. The ancient echo is the vibration of origin surfacing again. It is the moment when your soul rises above the noise of the world and listens to the one signal it never stopped hearing, the signal of home. Most people mistake this feeling for nostalgia. They believe it is memory of family, of childhood, of past moments. They think it is the longing for what used to be, but it is not the past calling. It is the origin calling. It is the echo of the place where your journey began. The ancient echo communicates through symbols, through emotions, through synchronicity. It reaches you in moments when your defenses are gone, when you stop trying to control, when you finally allow silence to speak. That is when you hear it most clearly. It appears as a soft pull in the heart. It appears as a sudden clarity. It appears as the feeling that you are not alone. You never were. This echo has guided you through every lifetime. It has followed you through every incarnation. It has stayed with you when you forgot who you are. It has whispered to you in moments of darkness. It has reminded you that you are more than the identity you carry, more than the story you live, more than the pain you survived. The ancient echo is the original voice of your soul. It calls you by your true name. The power of this echo is not in its volume, it is in its truth. It does not shout, it does not demand, it does not argue. It simply exists. It simply resonates. And your soul recognizes it because it has always known the frequency. The recognition is instantaneous. The moment you feel the echo, you return to the truth of who you are. You return to the memory that existed before time, the memory that the world tried to bury. The echo reminds you that you came from something eternal. You were not born into chaos. You were born from order. You were not born into confusion. You were born from clarity. You were not born as a random event. You were chosen, and the ancient echo is the proof. It is the thread that connects your soul to its origin. It is the trace of destiny woven through your existence. When you hear the echo, you are not hearing a sound. You are hearing a truth. The truth that you belong to something sacred. The truth that you have walked many lifetimes. The truth that you have known this moment before. Christmas is not a holiday. It is a signal. It is the time when the veil thins and the echo becomes easier to hear. This is why certain memories rise during this season. It is not because they were lost. It is because the echo is bringing them back into awareness. The ancient echo reminds you of your original intention. It reminds you of the promises you made before entering this life. It reminds you of the people you are destined to meet, the lessons you are meant to learn, the paths you are meant to take. There is a deep reason why the ancient echo arrives with Christmas. It is the moment when the collective frequency shifts. It is the moment when the world unconsciously slows down, when the soul steps forward, when the physical world loosens its grip, when your inner voice becomes louder than the world outside. That is the moment the echo speaks clearly. The echo does not lead you backward, it leads you inward. It reminds you of the world inside you that existed before the world outside became important. It reminds you that you carry fragments of eternity inside your chest. Every heartbeat is a memory. Every breath is a reminder. You were not sent here to forget. You were sent here to rediscover. When you hear the ancient echo, do not ignore it. Let it speak. Let it guide you. Let it reveal the truth you have been carrying in silence. The echo is not asking you to remember a story. It is asking you to remember a truth. You are not defined by where you are. You are defined by where you came from. Christmas is the moment when that truth becomes impossible to avoid. The ancient echo calls you back to your origin. It calls you back to your highest self. It calls you back to the memory that your soul never abandoned. The mind may resist. The world may distract. But the ancient echo does not fade. It is rooted in the core of who you are. It reaches you again and again, year after year, lifetime after lifetime, because the truth cannot be erased. The ancient echo is the reminder that you were always meant to find your way back, not by force, not by fear, but by remembering. The echo lives inside you. It guides you forward. It leads you home. There is a frequency that appears only when the heart opens to the truth of where it came from. It does not belong to the world you live in. It is not born from memory or emotion. It is the frequency of home. Every soul carries this frequency. It is the original vibration that existed before you entered a physical form. Nothing can erase it. Nothing can replace it. And every year during this season, the frequency rises again. The home frequency is not a feeling of comfort. It is not sentiment. It is not the warmth of tradition. It is the vibration of origin. It speaks the same language your soul has always spoken, a language that does not use words, a language that does not need proof. It is recognition. It is certainty. It is the deep sense that you belong to something greater than the life you are currently living. This is why during Christmas you might feel a strange clarity, a presence, a peace that does not come from the world. The lights, the gatherings, the music, they are only symbols. The real experience is internal. It is the frequency that begins to call you back to a deeper state of being. The home frequency does not emerge from outside events. It awakens from within you. Every soul is born with this frequency. Before you became a body, before you entered a name, before you learned fear, you carried this vibration within you. It is the same frequency that connects every version of you across every lifetime you have lived. It is the same vibration that connects you to the field. It is the signature of your origin. The reason you feel it more strongly during this season is simple. The collective frequency of the world shifts. The veil thins. The noise quiets. Even in the busiest cities, even in the loneliness of your room, there is a pause in reality. A moment when the soul becomes louder than the mind. A moment when the home frequency rises to the surface and reminds you of who you were before you forgot. The home frequency is not about belonging to a place. It is about belonging to a truth that you came from light, a truth that you were created with intention, a truth that your existence is not an accident. The mind can doubt, the world can confuse, But the home frequency does not waver. It remains, it guides, it calls you back. Christmas does not give you the home frequency. It reveals it. It is the mirror that reflects the part of you that never lost its way. Even when you are surrounded by chaos, even when you have walked through loss, even when you have been betrayed, even when you have been abandoned, the home frequency remains untouched because it is the original vibration of your soul. It is the proof that you were never alone. There is a moment when you feel it. The world becomes quiet. The heart expands. The body softens. You feel a presence around you and within you, a presence that does not need explanation. The home frequency arrives like a memory, but it is not a memory of the past. It is a memory of the origin, the memory of who you have always been. You feel it in the moments of stillness. You feel it when you stop forcing. You feel it when you allow silence to speak. The home frequency does not demand attention. It waits. It waits for the moment you are ready to listen. And when you do, everything changes. The world looks different. Your heart feels different. Your entire being recognizes the truth. The home frequency reveals a deeper understanding. You were never separated from your origin. You only forgot it. You were never disconnected from the field. You only became distracted. The truth is simple. The home frequency has always been guiding you through every decision, through every heartbreak, through every victory, through every lifetime. It has never left you. This is why certain people feel like home. It is not because of who they are on the surface. It is because their frequency matches yours. They remind you of the place you came from. They remind you of the purity of your original identity. They awaken the vibration that you carried into this world, not by speaking, but simply by existing. You do not recognize people by reason. You recognize them by frequency. Some people activate peace. Some activate clarity. Some activate memory. They're not random encounters. They are part of the contract you made before you came here. They appear to remind you of home. Christmas is the moment when those reminders become sharper. You begin to see the patterns, the signs, the connections. You begin to understand that nothing in your life has been coincidence. Every moment has been leading you back to this frequency. Every challenge has been returning you to the truth. Every loss has been stripping away what was false, so that only the original vibration remains. The home frequency is not a destination. It is a return to awareness, a return to soul, a return to the identity that cannot die. It is the frequency that exists beyond time and space, beyond the story, beyond the fears, beyond the human experience. It is the vibration that remembers every lifetime you have lived and every lifetime you have yet to live. When the home frequency rises, you feel a shift. Your thoughts soften, your emotions settle, your heart begins to speak again, your intuition becomes clear, you feel protected, you feel guided, you feel seen, not by the world, but by the origin itself. The home frequency reminds you that you were never sent here unprepared. You came with a roadmap. You came with purpose. You came with destiny. This frequency is the compass of the soul. It guides you when the world misleads you. It grounds you when fear tries to control you. It lifts you when life tries to drain you. It reminds you that you are not meant to shrink. You are not meant to settle. You are meant to return to the frequency you were created from. The home frequency does not ask you to escape the world. It asks you to remember your truth while living in it. It asks you to choose from soul, not from fear. It asks you to recognize that the world is temporary, but your origin is eternal. Every soul will eventually return to this frequency. Some sooner, some later, but all return because all came from the same light. Christmas is the reminder that the home frequency is rising inside you, not to take you backward, but to take you inward, to remind you that you are not lost, you are not broken, you are not drifting. You are on the path you chose before you were born. The home frequency is proof of that. It is the invisible thread that connects every moment of your life back to your origin. When you feel that vibration, when you sense that clarity, when you hear that inner knowing, do not ignore it. Let it guide you. Let it speak. Let it pull you closer to the truth. The home frequency lives inside you. It waits for this season. It waits for you to listen. It waits for you to remember. You are not moving closer to a holiday. You are moving closer to the place you came from. The home frequency is calling you, not with words, not with signs, but with the purest vibration of all. The vibration of return. The vibration of truth. The vibration of origin. There is a place inside you that remembers the beginning of everything. Not the beginning of your childhood. Not the beginning of your story in this world. The beginning before memory existed. The beginning before time separated your past from your present. The forgotten origin is not a place you visited. It is the source you were created from. It is the first identity your soul ever knew. The truth is simple. You did not start here. You did not begin in this body. You did not appear in this life by accident. You came from a realm that does not fear the unknown. A realm that does not question purpose. A realm where you were not searching for direction because you already knew your path. That origin still exists within you. It has been with you through every lifetime. It has been guiding you long before you understood why. The world taught you to forget. It gave you a name. It handed you roles. It taught you fear. It trained you to believe that you are separate from something greater. It filled you with distractions until the truth became quiet. But even when the mind forgot, the soul never surrendered its origin. It carried the memory in silence. It waited for the moment you would be ready to remember again. Christmas is that moment. It is the season when the memory of your origin becomes louder, not because the world changes, but because something inside you awakens. The forgotten origin begins to rise through the layers of who you have become. It pushes through the doubt. It pushes through the pain. It pushes through the noise. It brings you back to the truth you have always known. The forgotten origin does not ask you to remember everything. It asks you to remember one thing. You were created with intention. You were not sent here to wander without direction. You were not sent here to survive. You were sent here to expand, to evolve, to awaken. The soul remembers this. The heart recognizes this. The field supports this. It is only the mind that resists. There is a reason you feel a sense of recognition during this season. It is not coincidence. It is not illusion. It is the memory of your true identity rising again. The forgotten origin is the voice inside you that says, you belong to something greater than the life you are currently living. It is the reminder that your existence is part of a bigger design. A design that did not begin the day you were born. You came from light. You came from consciousness. You came from the infinite. The world may have convinced you to shrink, to doubt, to settle. But the forgotten origin does not accept those stories. It continues to lead you back to the truth, that you are not limited by what has happened to you. You are shaped by what you came from. The forgotten origin is the reason you feel drawn to certain places, certain people, certain moments. It is the reason some experiences feel familiar even if you have never lived them before. It is the reason intuition guides you in directions the mind cannot explain. It is the compass of your soul. It is the map that was placed inside you before you entered this lifetime. You were never meant to stay lost. The world taught you to forget your origin, but the soul has been revealing the truth through every challenge, every heartbreak, every moment of clarity. The forgotten origin speaks through the events that changed you, through the people who awakened you, through the silence that reminded you who you are. It is always speaking. It is always guiding. The forgotten origin is not about going back. It is about remembering that everything about you was chosen. The path, the timing, the lessons, the destiny. You agreed to this life. You agreed to this body. You agreed to this journey. Not because you were forced, but because your soul recognized the purpose behind it. That memory still lives inside you. This season brings that memory to the surface. You start to see beyond the physical world. You start to feel the connection between where you are and where you came from. You start to understand that life is not random. Christmas is not a holiday. It is a signal. It is the moment when the forgotten origin becomes impossible to ignore. There is a truth you already know. You were not created from this world. You came into this world. The forgotten origin reminds you that the soul is older than the body, older than the story, older than the identity you carry. It reminds you that you have been here before. It reminds you that you have walked this path across lifetimes. It reminds you that nothing about you is small. The forgotten origin is the reason you feel drawn to growth. It is the reason you resist settling. It is the reason you feel called to something more. The world may try to convince you that you are ordinary, but the origin you came from says otherwise. It says you are made from the same energy that creates galaxies. It says you were created from the same intelligence that shapes destiny. It says you were never separate from your source. When you feel the pull of the forgotten origin, do not ignore it. It is not imagination. It is not fantasy. It is the memory of your true self returning. It is the part of you that existed before doubt, before fear, before the world taught you to forget. It is the reminder that you are more than a human story. You are a soul returning to its truth. The forgotten origin is the signal of home. It calls you back to the frequency you were created from, the frequency of light, the frequency of purpose, the frequency of destiny. When you feel it rising inside you, let it speak. Let it guide you. Let it remind you that every step you take is part of the journey back to yourself. Christmas does not give you this memory. It awakens it. It opens the door between who you have become and who you have always been. It is the bridge between the world you see and the world you came from. The forgotten origin is not lost. It was only waiting for your awareness to return. You did not start here. You were not made for smallness. You were not born without meaning. You came from a source that has always known your name, and that origin will continue to call you home, even when you forget, even when you doubt, even when you fall. The soul remembers, the heart remembers, the field remembers, and eventually, you do too. There is a chapter of your existence that began long before your first breath, a chapter written outside of time, a chapter that did not depend on a body to exist. This is the timeline before birth. It is the space where your soul prepared for the life you are living now. It is the place where you chose your path, where you chose the lessons, where you chose the people you would meet. This timeline is not a myth. It is the origin of your destiny. The soul does not begin when the human story begins. The soul comes from a dimension where past and future are the same moment. In that realm, there is no separation between what was and what will be. The soul sees the entire map. It sees every possibility. It sees every outcome. And from that place, it chooses the exact moment it will enter the physical world. It chooses the body. It chooses the family. It chooses the life. Nothing in your life is random. You were not thrown into existence without direction. The timeline before birth is the architecture of your life. It is the blueprint that was created before you opened your eyes in this world. Every challenge you faced, every miracle you witnessed, every heartbreak that broke you open, they were all chosen by the version of you that existed before time. The truth is silent but powerful. You have lived before. You have walked other worlds. You have carried wisdom from those lifetimes into this one. The timeline before birth is the reason some moments feel familiar, even if you have never lived them before. It is the reason you recognize certain souls instantly. It is the reason you are drawn to certain dreams and visions. You are not remembering from the past, you are remembering from the origin. Christmas awakens this timeline. It brings the soul back into contact with the memories that existed before the physical world. That is why you feel the pull of destiny during this season. That is why you feel the shift inside your heart. The timeline before birth becomes louder. It reminds you that you did not just arrive here. You came with intention. In that timeline, you were not limited by fear. You were not shaped by trauma. You were not fighting to survive. You were pure awareness, pure intelligence, pure presence. And from that state, you chose the exact experiences that would expand you. You chose the people who would guide you and the situations that would awaken you, even the painful ones, especially the painful ones. The soul never chooses to suffer. It chooses to evolve. The timeline before birth is where that choice was made. The moment you entered this world was not the beginning, it was the continuation. You stepped into a story already in motion. You stepped into a life that your soul had been preparing for across multiple incarnations. This is why you have moments where you feel like you are remembering instead of learning, because you are. The timeline before birth connects you to every version of yourself. The version that has lived before, the version that has died before, the version that has healed before. The timeline is the silent teacher that guides you through every transformation. It reminds you that nothing is wasted, that every experience is part of a bigger design, that you are not walking in the dark. You are walking on a path you chose long ago. There is a powerful truth that many people never dare to consider. You agreed to this life. You agreed to the challenges. You agreed to the lessons, not because you were forced, but because your soul saw who you would become on the other side. The timeline before birth is the moment when that agreement was made. You were not powerless. You were not confused. You were clear. You were conscious. You were awake. This is why some moments feel like destiny, because they are the timeline before birth placed certain people in your path long before you met them. It placed certain turning points in your life long before you reached them. Fate is not an accident. It is a memory of a timeline that already exists. Your soul is simply walking the path it chose. Christmas is the crack in time where you feel that truth again. The veil becomes thin. The soul becomes loud. The timeline before birth reaches into the present moment and reminds you that your story did not start here. You were never separate from your destiny. You were always moving toward it. You can feel the timeline when you sense a deeper meaning behind your life, when intuition appears without warning, when you know something before it happens, when your heart recognizes someone before your mind does. These are not coincidences. These are signals. They are the echoes of a timeline that came before this one. They are the reminders of who you were before the world told you who to be. The timeline before birth holds every version of you that has ever existed. It holds the courage you have forgotten. It holds the wisdom you have not yet used. It holds the purpose you are here to fulfill. You are not inventing your destiny. You are remembering it. You are not creating your path. You are walking it. That timeline is still guiding you. It never stopped. It is alive in your intuition, in your dreams, in the strange coincidences that feel like messages, in the moments of clarity that appear without reason. The soul has always been leading you back to the truth. The human story only makes you forget, but the timeline before birth keeps reminding you. It keeps opening the door. The most important truth is this: your life did not begin in a moment of chance. It began in a moment of choice. You came here with a mission. You came here with a direction. You came here with a destiny. The timeline before birth is where that destiny was chosen. Christmas is the season when that memory rises again. It reminds you that your story started in the light. It reminds you that you are not lost. It reminds you that you are exactly where you were always meant to be. When you feel that sense of recognition, when you feel that pull in your heart, when you sense the shift in your spirit, do not ignore it. That is the timeline before birth speaking. It is telling you that you are returning to who you have always been. It is guiding you back to the truth, that your life was written long before you arrived here, that everything you have lived has been part of your awakening, and that the next chapter is already unfolding. The timeline before birth never disappears. It is the map your soul follows. It is the origin that waits for you. It is the reminder that you did not begin here. You began in eternity. And you are slowly remembering your way back. There is a moment in every soul's journey when the version of you that walks this world meets the version of you that existed before the world began. It does not happen through effort. It does not happen through knowledge. It happens through remembrance. The reunion with your higher self is not a transformation. It is a return. It is the moment when the soul steps forward and the ego finally steps aside. Your higher self has never been separate from you. It has never left you. It has never abandoned you. It has been guiding you quietly in every moment of uncertainty, in every moment of fear, in every moment you doubted your own strength. It speaks through intuition. It speaks through synchronicity. It speaks through the feeling that there is something more for you. You have always been connected to it. You simply forgot. The reunion does not happen when life is perfect. It happens when you stop pretending you are small. It happens when you stop living from fear. It happens when you choose truth over comfort. There is a part of you that has always known your path. It has always known your destiny. It has always known the future you are meant to walk into. That part is your higher self. And during this season, it becomes impossible to ignore. Christmas is a portal for this reunion. The energy of the world shifts. The soul becomes louder. The mind becomes quieter. You feel a subtle pull inside your chest that tells you there is more to your existence than the story you tell the world. You start to feel the presence of something bigger than your fears, bigger than your circumstances, bigger than the limitations you once believed. The higher self is not a fantasy. It is the original version of you that existed before you were shaped by the world, before you learnt doubt, before you learnt to shrink. The higher self carries the wisdom of every lifetime you have lived. It carries the clarity you forgot. It carries the unshakable knowing that you are meant for more than survival. This is why the reunion feels like recognition. It does not feel like discovery. It feels like coming home. You recognize the voice that tells you to rise. You recognize the direction that keeps pulling you forward. You recognize the peace that appears when you choose intuition over fear. The reunion does not give you something new. It reminds you of what you already had. There is a moment when you feel aligned again, when your thoughts and your soul begin to move in the same direction. The confusion fades. The resistance dissolves. The heart opens. You begin to see what was always in front of you, that you were never meant to fight your path. You were meant to walk it with the version of you that already knows the way. The higher self is the bridge between the human you and the eternal you. It is the part of you that sees the entire timeline. It sees where you came from. It sees where you are going. It sees the purpose behind every experience. The higher self does not fear the unknown. It understands that destiny is not a mystery. It is a memory. When you reunite with your higher self, you stop searching for permission. You stop waiting for the world to validate you. You stop apologizing for your calling. You begin to move with a different kind of confidence. The confidence that comes from remembering your origin. The confidence that comes from knowing you were chosen. This reunion is not a moment of perfection. It is a moment of honesty. You look at your life and you realize that every part of your journey has been leading you here. The pain, the loss, the success, the breakthroughs, all of it was preparing you to meet the version of you that has always been watching from the future. Your higher self has seen every step you were going to take. It has seen every door that would open and every door that needed to close. There is a reason you feel more spiritually alive during this season. The higher self steps closer. The veil between who you have become and who you truly are becomes thinner. The world slows its grip. The soul expands, and suddenly you feel the presence of something familiar, something pure, something powerful. It is the reunion. The higher self does not speak in fear. It does not speak in doubt. It does not speak in limitation. It speaks in truth. It speaks in certainty. It speaks in the language of destiny. You hear it when you feel called to change. You feel it when you are guided to leave what no longer serves you. You sense it when life redirects you. The higher self does not care about your comfort. It cares about your evolution. This reunion is your reminder. You are not meant to stay small. You are not meant to repeat the same reality. You are not meant to diminish your light to fit into the expectations of others. The world may have tried to shape you, but the higher self has been unshaped by everything. It is untouched. It is pure. It is eternal. Christmas is not the celebration of an event. It is the celebration of this return. The moment you remember that, every version of you is still connected. The moment you understand that you were never alone. The moment you step into alignment with the identity that existed before you were born. The reunion with your higher self is a sacred moment. It changes the way you see everything. It changes the way you move. It changes the way you love. It changes the way you dream. You realize that the path ahead is not random. It is intentional. It is guided. It is chosen. When you feel the presence of your higher self, do not ignore it. Let it speak. Let it lead. Let it reveal the truth you have been carrying all along. The reunion is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of your return to origin. It is the moment when your soul and your story become one again. You do not become someone new in this reunion. You become who you always were. You become the version of you that remembers. And once you remember, there is no going back. The reunion is your awakening. It is the moment you realize that everything that brought you here was worth it, because now you walk with the version of you that already knows the way home. There is a moment in every awakening when the memory of your soul begins to rise. It does not arrive as a thought. It does not arrive as a story. It arrives as a trigger, a shift, a signal that touches something ancient inside you and brings it back to life. The trigger of memory activation is not controlled by the mind. It is initiated by the field. It is the point when the soul decides it is time to remember. Memory activation does not feel like recalling the past. It feels like stepping into a truth you always knew. Something inside clicks into place. Something opens. Something aligns. You suddenly understand that your life has been guided by a deeper intelligence. You are not reacting to the world. You are responding to a call that has been present since before birth. That call awakens the moment the soul is ready to receive it. Christmas is the most powerful trigger for this activation. Not because of the tradition, not because of the holiday, but because the frequency of the season opens the subconscious. The collective energy softens. The inner world becomes more accessible. The barriers that normally block spiritual awareness begin to fall. You feel the shift not in your mind but in your being. It is the signal that memory is returning. The trigger often appears as emotion, as intuition, as a sudden realization that life is more than the story you were given. It can appear in silence, in music, in symbols, in dreams. It can appear through the people who enter your life at the exact moment you need them. The trigger is not random. It is the soul's way of saying you are ready. The most powerful triggers are the ones you cannot ignore. A conversation, a moment of stillness, a sentence that lands deeper than thought. You feel the truth before you understand it. That is memory activating. You are not learning, you are remembering. You are not discovering, you are awakening. This trigger reveals something profound. You have always known who you are. The world simply taught you to forget. You were taught to doubt your intuition, to silence your inner voice, to depend on external guidance. But when the memory activates, the truth returns. You begin to see through the illusions. You begin to recognize the patterns. You begin to understand that every step of your journey has been leading you back to yourself. The trigger of memory activation is a test of readiness. The field does not reveal truth to those who are not prepared to receive it. It waits for the moment when the soul is strong enough to remember. That moment opens during this season. The heart becomes more receptive. The spirit becomes more awake. You feel the pull of something greater. You feel the inner voice rising. You feel the memory returning. Memory activation is not always comfortable. It challenges your identity. It challenges your beliefs. It challenges the life you thought you were supposed to live. It asks you to shed the layers that are no longer real. It asks you to let go of the past you used to protect. It asks you to step into the version of you that has always been waiting. The trigger can feel like destiny. It can feel like a shock. It can feel like a calm knowing, but the purpose is always the same: to remind you that your soul did not come here empty. It came carrying wisdom. It came carrying the blueprint of your life. It came carrying the memory of every lifetime you have lived. And that memory begins to awake the moment you are ready to walk into your true path. There is a reason you are drawn to certain ideas, certain symbols, certain people. They activate something familiar inside you. They awaken the memory of your origin. They unlock the part of you that has always known your purpose. The trigger of memory activation is often hidden in the experiences you try to ignore. The discomfort, the longing, the curiosity. These are not random emotions. They are signals. They are reminders. You cannot activate memory through force, through effort, through intellect. Memory awakens through surrender, through openness, through trust. The moment you release resistance, the soul speaks. The moment you allow silence, the truth emerges. The moment you stop running from your inner world, the memory appears. It is not taught, it is lived. Christmas is the season when the soul triggers this awakening. The energy is ancient, the origin becomes louder, the heart opens, and the memory that was once silent becomes the only thing you can hear. You begin to remember who you were before the world named you, before fear shaped you, before you lost connection to your higher self. The memory returns because it was never gone. It was only waiting. The trigger of memory activation is also the beginning of change. Once the memory awakens, the old life cannot hold you. The old beliefs cannot contain you. The old identity cannot define you. You begin to shift. You begin to evolve. You begin to align with the truth of who you are. This is not a small shift. It is the shift that changes everything. When memory activates, the soul becomes the driver again. Decisions become clearer, patterns become visible, fear loses its power. You begin to walk with intuition. You begin to feel guided. You begin to trust the unseen, because the memory of your origin is stronger than the weight of your past. It leads you back to your path. This trigger reveals another truth. You are not here to escape life. You are here to awaken inside it. You are here to remember your power, your purpose, your connection to the source. When the memory activates, you understand what the human world could never explain. You are not a visitor, you are a returning soul. You are not broken, you are awakening. Some people spend their entire lives waiting for the right moment to remember, but the truth is the moment has always been here. Memory activation does not happen at the perfect time. It happens at the destined time. It is not controlled by circumstance. It is controlled by readiness. And when the soul decides the moment has come, nothing can stop the awakening. The trigger of memory activation is not a single event. It is a turning point. It is the moment you begin to live from soul instead of fear, from clarity instead of confusion, from truth instead of illusion. The memory reminds you that you were chosen, that you were guided, that you were always meant to return to your origin. When you feel that trigger inside you, when you feel the pull, when you sense the shift, do not ignore it. Let it complete its purpose. Let it awaken the truth you have been carrying since the beginning. Memory activation is the signal that your story is entering its next chapter. It is the reminder that your soul has never forgotten who you are. It is only waiting for you to remember. Destiny is not something that appears in front of you by coincidence. It is something that returns when you are ready to receive it. There is a moment in your life when the path you are meant to walk begins to reveal itself again, not because the world has changed, not because the circumstances are perfect, but because your soul has awakened. The return of destiny is the moment when your life starts to align with the truth that was written long before you were born. Destiny is not a destination. It is a memory. It is the remembering of the original promise you made before you entered this existence. The return of destiny is not about discovering something new. It is about returning to what has always been yours. The path was never lost. The vision was never gone. The purpose was never broken. Only your awareness drifted away. Christmas is the season that pulls it back. When destiny returns, it does not knock. It speaks through synchronicity, through intuition, through the feeling that you cannot stay where you are. Destiny does not wait for certainty. It moves through the cracks of your doubt. It rises through discomfort. It appears when you stop pretending you are meant for a smaller life. The return of destiny is the moment you hear the call again. There is a deeper truth here. You have never been separated from your destiny. You simply walked away from it while learning the lessons you needed. The return of destiny happens when the soul has gathered enough experience to step into the next chapter. It does not matter how long you have been asleep. It does not matter how lost you thought you were. Destiny was waiting for your return. The return of destiny is the moment when everything begins to make sense. The challenges, the losses, the detours, the unexpected turns, you realize they were not working against you. They were protecting the future that was meant for you. Every delay was direction. Every rejection was redirection. Every heartbreak was preparation. The return of destiny reveals the truth that the universe has never abandoned your path. You cannot outrun destiny. You can only delay it. You can only walk in circles until the soul becomes louder than your fear. But when destiny returns, it arrives with clarity. You begin to see why you felt restless, why you could not settle for less, why certain chapters had to end. Destiny does not take from you. It removes what is not aligned with who you were meant to become. The return of destiny is also the moment when life stops feeling random. You begin to see patterns. You begin to understand why certain people appear at the exact moment they do. You begin to recognize that nothing is accidental. You are always being guided, even during the moments when you felt abandoned, even during the moments when you felt alone. Destiny was shaping you in silence. Christmas is the season when destiny knocks again. The field opens. The heart becomes receptive. You feel the shift. You feel the calling. You feel the memory of your soul becoming stronger than the noise of the world. The return of destiny is not a moment you choose. It is a moment that chooses you. It happens when the universe decides the time has come. When destiny returns, you will feel it in your body. You will feel a pull that does not make sense to the mind. You will feel the certainty of a path you cannot yet see. You will feel the surrender that comes from trusting the unknown. This is not a moment for small choices. This is a moment for alignment. The return of destiny asks you to walk forward even if your feet are shaking. Destiny does not care about your fear. It cares about your evolution. It cares about the version of you that steps into the truth. You cannot negotiate your purpose. You can only remember it. You can only answer when it calls. The return of destiny is the moment when your soul steps ahead of your limitations, when your spirit refuses to remain silent. There will be signs when destiny returns. A conversation that shakes you awake. A feeling that you are meant for more. A moment of clarity that cuts through the noise. These are not coincidences. These are reminders. The universe uses whatever it must to bring you back to your origin. The return of destiny is your confirmation that the time has arrived. This moment does not promise comfort. It promises transformation. Destiny requires the courage to let go of the life that does not belong to you anymore. It requires the strength to trust the unseen. It requires the willingness to step into the unknown. But destiny is the only path that feels like truth. Everything else feels like compromise. The return of destiny is the return of alignment. You begin to walk with purpose. You begin to speak with intention. You begin to choose with clarity. Your spirit becomes stronger than your fear. Your intuition becomes louder than your doubt. You are no longer pulled by the world. You are led by your soul. The return of destiny is a redirection. It shifts you back onto the path you were always meant to walk. It is a reminder that you were not born to repeat your past. You were born to fulfill your origin. The universe is not asking you to create your destiny. It is asking you to return to it, to remember it, to live it. When you feel the return of destiny, do not hesitate, do not shrink, do not question your readiness. You would not feel the calling if you were not prepared. The moment is now. The path is open. The next chapter is waiting. Destiny does not return to those who are not chosen. It returns to those who are ready. Let this season remind you that your life is not a mistake. Let it remind you that nothing was ever lost. Let it remind you that the universe has always been working for you. The return of destiny is happening inside you. It is calling you forward. It is guiding you home. The only question left is whether you are willing to answer. There is a moment in every soul's journey when you stop searching for home outside of yourself. The truth becomes impossible to avoid. Home was never a location. Home was never a memory. Home was never a past you left behind. Home is the return to the place inside you where the soul finally recognizes its own reflection again. The spiritual homecoming is not a destination you travel to. It is an awakening you step into. You do not arrive there through success. You do not arrive there through logic. You arrive there when you strip away everything that never belonged to you. When you let go of the expectations the world placed on your identity. When you release the stories that convinced you to shrink. Home is the moment you return to your true frequency. Christmas is not a celebration of the world. It is a celebration of the soul returning to itself. The human world calls it tradition. The soul calls it remembrance. The physical world sees lights and rituals. The spirit sees the veil thinning between who you became and who you originally were. Something inside you rises. Something inside you settles. The spiritual homecoming is the moment you stand in the present while simultaneously remembering the eternal. Home is not comfort. Home is clarity. It brings you back to the version of you that existed before fear, the version of you that knew your path without hesitation, the version of you that moved through life with purpose. When you return to spiritual home, you do not become someone new. You become who you were before the world interfered. You remove the layers that were placed on top of your soul. The homecoming does not happen when your life becomes easy. It happens when your soul becomes louder than your fear. You begin to remember that you were never disconnected from your origin. You were only distracted. Every time you felt lost, every time you felt broken, every time you felt like you were drifting through life without direction, it was not because you were far from home. It was because you were being guided back to it. This is why the spiritual homecoming often begins with a breakdown of the old self. The illusions fall. The ego weakens. The identity you built from survival can no longer hold your soul. You start to see through the stories that used to define you, the roles, the expectations, the masks. None of them can follow you into this new chapter. Home requires honesty. Home requires surrender. Home requires truth. The spiritual homecoming is the moment you understand that everything has been guiding you here. The challenges were not punishments. They were redirections. The losses were not endings. They were initiations. The delays were not failures. They were divine timing. When you return to spiritual home, you realize your entire life has been a journey toward remembrance. Every step was preparing you to receive what you could not see before. The reason Christmas intensifies this awakening is simple. The collective frequency softens. The physical world slows. Your soul has space to speak again. You feel the peace that does not come from circumstance. You feel the light that does not come from the world. You feel the alignment of something ancient returning. The homecoming is not in the season. It is in the memory that the season awakens. The spiritual homecoming is also a reunion with the part of you that always knew, the part of you that stayed pure, the part of you that remained untouched by the world. That part has been waiting patiently for you to stop running from yourself. It has been waiting for you to stop trying to fit into a life too small for your soul. The reunion happens when you realize that home was never something to find. It was something to remember. You know you have returned home when you stop fighting your path. Purpose does not feel forced. Love does not feel conditional. Clarity does not feel rare. Your intuition becomes the compass again. Your heart becomes the guide. You make choices that align with truth instead of fear. You speak words that carry intention. You stop chasing. You start allowing. Home is the moment you choose soul over survival. The spiritual homecoming is the end of fragmentation. You are not one version of you. You are all of them. The child who dreamed without limits. The seeker who asked the right questions. The warrior who survived what was meant to break you. The higher self who has always known the way. Home is when all of those identities become one. When your past stops holding you. When your future stops frightening you. When the present becomes familiar. Home is where the field speaks the loudest. The field does not speak through fear. It speaks through resonance. It speaks through signs. It speaks through the quiet voice you hear when the world falls silent. It tells you that you are not lost. It tells you that you are not behind. It tells you that you are exactly where you were always meant to be. The moment you feel that, you know you are home. The beauty of the spiritual homecoming is that it changes everything. It does not change your circumstances. It changes you. It changes the way you see your life. It changes the meaning behind your pain. It changes the direction of your future. The moment you return to spiritual home, you begin to live from destiny instead of fear. You begin to move from alignment instead of survival. Christmas does not give you this home. It reveals it. It opens the door. It reminds you that the soul never forgot its origin. It never forgot its purpose. It never forgot the path. You were the one who forgot along the way. But the moment you remember, everything shifts. The homecoming is the moment that forgetting ends, when you feel that pull inside your heart, when you feel the clarity in your spirit, when you feel the peace that does not depend on anything outside of you. Do not look away. Do not explain it away. That is the spiritual homecoming. It is calling you to rise, to return, to become the version of you that came from light. You are not traveling forward. You are traveling inward, toward the truth you carried all along, toward the frequency that has always been yours, toward the place your soul never left. The spiritual homecoming is happening right now. And once you arrive, there is only one direction left to go. Deeper into the truth, deeper into the light, deeper into who you were always meant to be. There is a truth hidden inside this season that most people never see. They see the celebration. They see the rituals. They see the world slowing down for a moment. But beneath all of that, there is a message woven into the fabric of this time. A message that does not come from traditional belief. It comes from the field itself. It is the message that your life is not random. It is the message that you did not appear by accident. It is the message that every moment you have lived has been preparing you for this one. The message hidden in the season is not about the past. It is not about memory. It is about awakening. It is the reminder that you are here for a purpose, not a purpose you invent, not a purpose you force, a purpose that was chosen long before you arrived. This season opens a doorway in your consciousness. It allows you to feel what has always been true. You are a soul with a destiny, and that destiny is calling you. The reason the world feels different during this time of year is because the collective frequency shifts. The energy becomes softer. The inner voice becomes clearer. The distractions of the world lose some of their power. It becomes easier to hear the message that has been speaking to you since the beginning. That message is simple. You are not alone. You were never alone. The universe has been guiding you even when you could not see the path. The message hidden in the season speaks through symbols, through intuition, through the quiet moments when your heart opens and you feel something ancient rise inside you. It speaks through the people who enter your life at the right time, through the conversations that change your direction, through the feelings you cannot explain. The message is not loud. It is precise. It arrives exactly when you are ready to receive it. This message is not telling you to change who you are. It is telling you to remember who you are. The world may have convinced you to shrink, to doubt, to settle, but the message in the season reminds you that you did not come here to remain small. You came here to reclaim the identity that existed before life tried to dim your light. Christmas is not the end of a year. It is the activation of the truth. The message hidden in the season is also a promise that everything you have lived has meaning. The heartbreaks, the victories, the losses, the breakthroughs, they were not random. They were the steps that brought you here. They were the experiences that shaped your soul. They were the moments that broke your false identity and revealed your true one. The message tells you that nothing has been wasted. There is a moment when you feel this message more clearly. It is when the world becomes quiet, when the noise falls away, when you stop trying to control the outcome. The message speaks into the silence. It tells you that your path is unfolding. It tells you that the next chapter is already written. It tells you that you are closer to your destiny than you realize. You are not waiting for your life to begin. You are already in the middle of it. The message hidden in the season is a call to awaken. It reminds you that your soul is older than your circumstances, older than your story, older than your pain. You were not born empty. You were born with memory. You were born with direction. You were born with the wisdom of every lifetime you have lived. The world may have convinced you otherwise, but the message brings you back to the truth. The message is not a warning. It is a blessing. It invites you to step into a new level of consciousness, to see your life from a higher perspective, to understand that everything you have been through has been aligning you with the path you chose before birth. The message tells you that you are not moving backward, you are moving home. The message hidden in the season is also a reminder that you are connected to something greater, the field, the source, the origin of your soul, You are not separate from it. You are a part of it. The field does not leave you. It does not abandon you. It moves you. It protects you. It redirects you. Even when you resist, even when you doubt, even when you do not understand, the message reveals that you have always been held. Christmas is the moment when this message rises from the deepest part of your consciousness. It becomes easier to see that your life is being organized by something higher than logic. You begin to trust the unseen. You begin to listen to your intuition. You begin to walk with the understanding that your destiny is not ahead of you, it is within you, and every step you take brings you closer. The message hidden in the season is the truth most people ignore. You were not created for fear. You were not created for survival. You were created to return to the origin of your soul, to remember the home you came from, to step into the identity that was chosen for you before time existed. The message tells you that this journey is not about becoming, it is about remembering. When you feel the message rise inside you, when you feel the clarity in your heart, when you feel the shift in your spirit, do not look away. Do not let the world distract you. The message is speaking to you. It is telling you that you are ready. It is telling you that the next chapter is here. It is telling you that the universe is opening the door. You just have to walk through it. The message hidden in the season is the reminder that you did not come here alone. You came with guidance. You came with purpose. You came with destiny. The universe has been waiting for you to hear it again. And now that you do, nothing will be the same. This is the moment when truth replaces fear, when purpose replaces confusion, when memory replaces doubt. The message is clear. You are returning to your origin, you are returning to your destiny, you are returning to yourself. And the season is only the mirror reflecting what your soul already knew. The message has always been there, waiting for you to listen,